Hey there, how's it going everybody? So in this tutorial, we're going to be moving forward with our learning Survey123 Connect app tutorial, whereby we're going to be moving on to advanced form fields. So I'm just going to show you a rundown of some of the advanced form fields which you're going to be creating in this tutorial. So as you all know, we'll be creating this living conditions health survey, and I'm just going to show you some forms. So over here I've added a new form based on the description which I added on the previous video. So this is going to be a children's details, and as you can see there's only one field in this like in this group. But if I'm to add let's say how many children do you have, and then I type in 3 there, and then I press enter, you find out that it then creates like a new group within this group. So this is more like a nested group now. So these fields are going to be dependent on the number of children that I add here. As you can see here, it requires me to add the name of the child and the age and and the gender of the child. And then here it's telling me this is child number 1 out of 3. So basically it's taking like the value 3 from what I have entered here as input. So it requires me to enter three other separate details and then this field, and then these details also get stored in the database. So if we just go on and add maybe say 10 children here, press enter, it also requires 10 fields. So this is very helpful when you're collecting details like the household. You don't really know the number of children in each household, and it's quite unprofessional to leave blank spaces within forms in cases where the number of children might be 0, or where in case number of children might be more than the expected value. So this is just a way of generating dynamic fields within your form. Okay, so with that being said, let me just move on to the other section of the tutorial, whereby we're going to be creating this signature. Remember the signature that I added? I'm going to also be creating the signature. So now return to the field, to the form which we were initially creating within our survey. So this is a tutorial form. As you can see, we only have about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fields, and there isn't much here. Everything is just basic. Okay, so what we want to do now is we want to add a question here. Like we want to add a question which helps the user to pick their drinking water source. So, but in this case, we want to make this a drop down. So as you can notice here, we have these radio buttons. For those who have used HTML before, I'm sure you know about radio buttons and the difference between drop down and radio buttons. So the second field, we want to create it as a drop down. So let me just go over to the Excel form here. And then what we're going to be doing now is we're just going to be also putting a select one option here. And then just gonna go over here, then the list name is saying water sources. Let me just type that correctly, water sources. And then here we just put in a name, water source. And then please select your water source from the list. Okay, so yeah, the user is basically going to select the water source from the list. And then now what we need to do is we created a list here, and we need values for that list. So we just go over to the choices, and then under list name, that's where we're going to be adding water source. So remember, the list name that you replace here is supposed to be added to the choices. And let's say I'm going to add about 4 choices here, and then we're just going to say this is going to be here. We're just going to say dam, and then we're just going to say unprotected well. Here we say protected well. I'm just going to add a field with the name other. So I'm just going to explain to you about the other field. In this case, I'm just going to copy these values here so that we don't waste much of the time during this tutorial. It's always good for you guys to label these well, like making them like user, like yeah, like user friendly. Okay, so now we added our feed type here, whereby if we're going to be saving this, and then we look over to our form, we find out that you would have added like this water source. Okay, so now that we have everything in place, remember in our choices we added a feed column which contained this other feed type. So we wanted to say to put a condition that allows like the user to be able to specify their own water source in case it is not listed among these four. So in order for us to do that, we're just going to need to add a text feed here. So we're just going to say text feed, and then we're just going to give it a name, say other source, like that, and then we put a label. Just say water source type, and then over here we're just going to give the user a hint. So just say please specify the water source type. So that's going to be a hint. So now we need to put a condition, because if we're basically going to save this form, let me just show you how it's going to appear like. Oops, unfortunately, let me just show you how it's going to appear like. So it's going to appear like this, even if we select other, or even if a user selects tape, we're still going to see this field. But now we don't want to see this field in the event that the user selects tape down unprotected or protected row. We only want to see this field if the user selects other. So we need to put a condition here. So we just navigate over within this row. We say we go to our field column, whereby we have to specify like a constraint. So in this constraint we have to check like the relevance of the question. So in order for us to do that, we need to look for a column field which is written relevant, and then we add our constraint in that relevant column. So let's just look for this relevant column, which is this one. It's also in the same row with the text, and then we get to add our expression. So whenever you're writing expressions, you need to start with the $ symbol, and then we put these opening curly braces. So we need to check if this water source is going to be other, if the user is going to select this option which is other. Okay, so in order for us to do that, we need to specify the name. Remember, we have a variable here, so we need to specify this variable. So here we got water source, so we're just gonna write in water source, and then we put an equal sign if it's going to be equal to other. So on our choices, we find the choice which you want to put the condition against, and then we need to use other. So we go there and we replace other. So if the user selects other, then this field is going to be reviewed. So let's just save that and see how it's going to look like. Okay, so this is our form field. As you can see, the field has been hidden. So if I am to select tape, then nothing is going to happen. But if I select other, then this field is going to show up. So this is basically like the conditional fields which we need. We don't just need a form with all the fields, because some fields might actually be relevant, some fields might not be relevant at all. Okay, so now that is done, we need to go back to our form. So remember, we have given the user an option to add their own water source here. But then, in the event that they have added their own water source, we might need to verify the water source and see if it doesn't belong to any of these groups or anything else. So in order for us to do that, we need to add like an image field, whereby the user is going to take a picture of the water source. So we just look for a field type image here. So we have an image there. So I'm just going to say source image for the name, and then we'll say water source picture, and then please take a photo of the water source. Okay, so this basically tells the user that we need a photo of the water source, and this is going to only appear if the user selects the other option. Okay, yeah, so if the user selects other, then we're basically going to get we need to collect an image of the water source. So if I'm to save that again and go back to our form, an image field should appear whenever the user selects the other option. So let's just leave that to optimize the survey. Then we select other, then we see that we have this field, we also have this field. So if I click on this field, it basically allows me to take a picture instantly using this camera. But if I click on the folder, it allows me to upload a certain image from my computer. So let me just click on this folder. As you can see, it's requesting that I upload an image file onto the survey. Okay, so let's just, I'm not going to use this camera because I don't want you guys to see like, because if I launch this, then it's going to be permissions for the camera. Okay, so now we move on to the next section. So let's just say we need the user to actually sign this survey. We can put a signature field for the user to sign. So I'm just going to add here, we just need to add an image again. We just need to add an image field there again, and then here all we need to do is we need to put user signature. So I'm just gonna say signature. I'm gonna say please sign the form to agree to our terms and conditions. Then now on appearance, you need to select that we are going to be using a signature field. So then just look for the appearance column, use this one, and then say we're going to be reading a signature. So then just look for signature. There you have it. So if I save this, then the input is going to be taken as the signature. So let me just save that so that you guys actually see what I'm talking about. So it's now optimizing the survey, and then if we go down, we see we have a form field here which says please sign the form to agree. So if we can basically add a signature here into this form, and then we submit, and we can also clear out the signature if we have made any mistakes. Okay, so that being said, we need to move on to the next section. The next section we could also add okay, so whenever you're doing health surveys, you have certain conditions. So you might get to a household and then you ask them, how many children do you have? And then they say 2. And then you need to take in the details of the children. And then you can also go to a house and then you ask, how many children do you have? And then they say 5. And then you also need to take all the names of the 5 children. So we cannot have a static field like just to define, to say, like for every time we create fields that allow us to add children, because we might add 2 fields which require 2 names, and then we find out that we have 5 children, so it's not going to be enough space for that to happen. So what we need to do is we need to create a dynamic section whereby the form fields are always repeated. Okay, so let me just show you what I mean. So here we're just going to ask the user, how many children do you have? So we're just going to take that in as an integer, and then on the name we say number of children, and then on the label we ask how many children do you have, put a question mark, and then here the user is basically going to enter an integer of how many children they have. So this is going to say 3, and then that's that. So now what we need to do here is we need to create a form section whereby we add the number of children whereby we add the names of each and every child according to the number of children which are within a household. So what I basically mean is, if we go to a household whereby there are only 3 children, we need to have a form which contains 3 boxes where we need to fill in like the names of the children. If you go to another household where there are 6 children, we also need to have a form which has a constraint that allows us to enter 6 names of children. Okay, so in order for us to do that, we have a grouping function here. So we're just going to call in the group. So we're just going to say begin. Sorry, excuse me. Call in like the repeat function. So we say begin repeat here, and then we just name it. We say child detail. Let me just say children. Yeah, let's just say children, and then we give the label. We're just gonna label it to children details. Okay, so that's done. And then now we need to add in what we need to do. We need to collect the name of each and every child. So that's just going to be text, and then we say child name here, and then we say oops, I think I've gone too far. Let me just go back. Okay, yeah. Then we say name of child. So we're just basically going to get the name of the child. So for the purpose of this tutorial, we're just going to get the name of the child. We're not going to be adding much information, and so I'm just going to need to end this repeat. So I'm just going to click on end repeat. And then I'm just going to enable it again, children. Yeah, as you can see, the colors have already changed, which means here there's some sort of advanced feature which we have added onto our form. Okay, so there's one more step to this repeat function. So we said this repeat function is supposed to generate a space for us to add the name of the child, like the name of the children, based on the user input, based on the number of children which are within a household. So if we're going to be having 6 children within a household, we also need to know we also need to generate 6 forms. If we have 3 children, we need to generate 3 sections where we write the name. So here we're just gonna put a repeat count. I'm sure you have already noticed we have a repeat count column. Just gonna look for that one. So it's gonna look, okay, there it is, and then we align it to the begin repeat section. Okay, so now we need to repeat this question based on the input which we have here, which is the number of children. So in order for us to do that, we put the variable which we have defined above. So we can put in those curly braces, and then we need to put in the name number of children, which is going to be our constraint number of children. You have to be careful about your spellings, because if you have wrong spellings within your function, then it's not going to work. So let's just going to save that and see what our form is going to be looking like now. Okay, so now our form was executed without any errors, and then we have this section. As you can see, we have children details here, but if we try to scroll down, there's nothing there. But if I'm to say I have 3 children, then I press enter, and then I see that we have 1 of 3, like the field column is now active. So let's just say just type my name here, and then we click next. You see it's now requiring us to enter the name of the second child. Just type another name again, then the name of the third child. So if I'm to put in 10 children here, and then you see it's going to require us to put the names of 10 children. By all you need to is to scroll to the right or to the left in order for you to add children. And as you can already see, we have already added the name of the first child, the second child, and we're now on the third child. Okay, so that's how you create a dynamic feed within your Survey123. Okay, so now I think what we're left with is we need to be able to perform a certain calculation. Okay, what I mean by calculations is we could actually base. Okay, so let's just say we need to calculate how much each household earns at the end of the year. Okay, so in order for us to do that, we just basically going to ask the user how much salary are they earning on a monthly basis, and then we add all the total salaries for all the 12 months in a year, and then we find out their annual salary. So if we ask someone their annual salary, they might not already have that figure, or they might not have calculated that figure, and we don't want to be wasting time for them. I'm telling them to calculate their own salary for the whole year. So in order for us to do that, just going to add a question here, which allows us to add, ask them how much money they are earning on a monthly basis. So we're just going to add a decimal field, and then we just call this salary, and then we just ask them the question, how much do you get paid per month? So yeah, how much do they get paid on a monthly basis? And then just put them a hint. I don't think we need any hint here. So they're basically going to enter in their salary like on a monthly basis. And then what we need to do now is we need to calculate how much they're going to be earning like per annual. So none of us, we have a calculate field type which is already inserted within our form. We just need to call it, and then we have called the coding the calculation type, and then here what we need to do is we're just going to name it annual salary, like that, annual salary. And then are we going to place any labels? No, we don't need to place any labels because it's not going to be doing anything. But what we need to do is we need to add in the calculation now. So we're going to look over for the calculation field. Yeah, there it is. And then we align it to this calculate field. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to add in the dollar sign again, and then we need to add in the salary which has been entered. So it's going to say salary, and then we multiply the salary by 12. Oops. These things keep disappearing. I think I hadn't enabled the num lock. Anyway, let's just say 12 here, salary by 12, in order for us to get their annual salary. And then it's going to display the annual salary within the survey now. So for it to display, we need to add in a note. Just a note, which is going to tell them their annual salary. This note is also going to be displayed in the database. So I'm just going to say display here, and then we're just going to put a label. Okay, so annual salary is, and then we put in the annual salary here. So we're just going to say salary is going to be annual salary, like that. So what's happening here is that we're asking the user how much they're earning on a monthly basis using this field type. And then after we do that, we get their salary, and then we calculate it on an annual basis, and then we return those calculated amounts back to the user so that they know, and then we can also get to store these values in our database. Okay, so let me just save that and see how it's going to look like in our survey. Okay, so let's just go to the end of this survey and just concentrate on what we need to do. Okay, so here we have this question: how much do you get paid on a month? So I'm just going to enter in a random figure to say they get paid in 5,000, and then as you can see, the annual salary is that. So you can also add in some formatting. See, this is just it's just 60,000. There's no dollar sign or anything, but you can always go back in here. Then you put in that dollar sign here so that it gets displayed within the form now, and you get to have some formatting, which also really works. And also, yeah, you can also add in some HTML formatting tag. For example, I could just add in this HTML formatting tag, this mark tag. And then I put in, close the mark tag. This HTML format tag basically highlights whatever value I need to be highlighted. So let me just save that and then go back to the XLS form. So go back to the Survey123 Connect app to see how it's gonna look like. Okay, so here we're just gonna say I need 3 per month, 36. Oops, unfortunately I think it didn't get to highlight that as proper HTML. I'm not sure why it did that, but let me just see how this goes. Okay, let me just try to put some basic tags. Okay, so let me just put in some strong here, and then we just put in some strong. This basically makes like the whole text bold. So let's just see how it's gonna look like again. I'm not really sure why the mark HTML tag didn't work. Maybe because it's not supported in Survey123, but I'm yet to find out after this tutorial, and then I'll possibly add the reason why to the comment section below. So let's just go over and see how that looks like, and then we're just gonna say I earn 4,543. Let's just say okay. So now you see that this text is now in bold. So we need to know how to play around with your HTML tags in order for you to be able to format certain styles within your survey. Okay, so let me check to see if we have left out anything. We've added the calculation field, the decimal. We've also done some repeats. Oh yeah, this one we can also get to group our surveys. So let me just go back to the survey. Here, as you can see, we have a certain feed section, and we don't want to be mixing our surveys. Like we need to group them accordingly. If we have going to be asking health related questions, we need to group them accordingly. We're going to be asking personal details, we need to group them accordingly. If we're going to be giving the user consent, we need to also be grouping them accordingly. So for the purpose of this tutorial, we're just going to be grouping the health questions on their own. So let me just say close that, and then we create a group which contains health questions. So here we have the location, the water source, and the source image. So let me just try to make these like the health questions. So let me just start here. Let me just start on location. So I'm just gonna add another field on top of that one here, and then I'm just gonna say here we then begin a group. So we just start a group, begin group. Yeah. So we need to give the group a name. So we're just gonna say health. That's the name of the group, and then we give it a label. So we say health details, that, and then at the end of this of the questions which are health related, we need to close the group. So as soon after the source image, I think this is where we can add a new row like that, and then we say end group. Then we get to end the group, so I'm just going to say end group, and then we need to put the name of the group so that our system knows we have ended the group which is written health. As you can see, the colors also changed to try to represent that we have elements which are grouped together within our survey. So if I am to save this and go back to our survey, we're going to find that we have a group which is written health information, health details. I'm not sure what I wrote. But here it is, we have this group with health details. We can also decide to close it and open the group depending on the user's needs. So if I am to have groups like this, remember we can close these groups. As you have seen from the original survey which we had in our introductory course, we had elements which grouped together and they were all closed. So we can get to open these elements whenever we need them. Instead of us having just a continuous form which doesn't go nowhere, we also have such type of questions which have been grouped together. Okay, so anyway, this is basically Survey123. I hope you guys can learn more and explore much of the fields which I haven't really touched on. If you navigate to field types, if you navigate to question types here, you get to see a lot of questions which you can also get to implement. And remember, like I said, you can be able to tell whether if a question is enabled in the field app or on the web app. You can see here, this range input type is not enabled for the web app. This audio is not enabled for the web app, and also the barcode scanner, because on the web app one might be using like a laptop, so there's no way you can be able to scan a barcode unless they have additional input like the actual barcode scanner. But you can also scan a barcode using your mobile device, which is basically like the field app. Okay, so anyway, this is basically Survey123. I hope to be adding more videos to the blog and also on the YouTube channel. But you can also get to ask any questions if you guys face any challenges while you're creating your own survey. This will be I'll be very much ready to assist you guys in creating your own surveys. And okay, let me just show you one more part that you need to learn before we finish this tutorial. So after we have created our survey right now, we now need to publish this survey onto our ArcGIS Online account. And in order for us to do that, we need to add a few variables. So remember, we created a form title in here, and then we also got to add all the questions that we needed for the survey. So you can also basically add some of the features, like some of the things, like the details. You can also add like a thumbnail. You can also add a summary. You can also add like a description. So if I'm to say a summary, just a tutorial on Survey123, and then we can also get to add like a thumbnail. If I'm to add a thumbnail, let me just go to my images, and then I go over reference surveyors, just put the surveyor here, and then that is going to be the thumbnail, like on the feature layer, and the survey form is going to be uploaded onto your ArcGIS Online account. And then here we get to also add some other options. We can require update to the latest version of the survey every time someone wants to submit something. We can also limit the pixel size of the images which are uploaded. We also get to create some of the mapping styles that we require. And here we also have a linked content in case we have related fields. We also get to add some JavaScript. Let's just say we need like a pop-up which appears whenever a record is submitted. If you know your JavaScript tool, you can also add a new script to that. We also have a schema now. This basically shows every variable which we have added, which is going to be listed in our database now. Okay, so what we have here is we're going to be having a layer. It's called living conditions. Then we have a table. It's going to be like the children name table. So since we have a dynamic form, it's always best to have a related table. So in case we have 5 children, it's also going to add the names of the children to the database, and then it puts a primary key into the feature layer which will reference the name of the children. If we have 6 children, that's the same thing is going to happen. So now we need to publish this form. Just going to make sure that everything is okay, and yeah, everything seems okay. So all we need to do is we need to hit the publish button, and then it gives you a warning. Once a survey is published, for the changes to the survey design will require the feature service to be modified. Means the feature service could result in data loss. And then we also have options. You can also decide to create a web map, create web form, and everything. You can also enable synchronization, but no, I'm not gonna enable this because this basically works when you're working offline. People might actually fill in the survey while they're offline, and then when they go online, the survey gets automatically uploaded into the ArcGIS online account or the ArcGIS portal. Just click on OK, and then I'm just gonna click on Publish Survey. So it's going to be creating a folder, survey, living conditions survey tutorial, and then it creates a feature service with that information, and then it's now updating the service details and the information. It's creating feature layers and tables, creating data relationships, enabling editor tracking, updating capabilities, creating web form, creating form item, and the list continues until it's finished. As you can see, the publishing is complete, and now we need to go on to our ArcGIS online account in order for us to see what has really been published. So let me just click on OK and navigate over to my ArcGIS online account. Okay, so this is basically my ArcGIS online organizational account. So we need to look for that folder. So remember, when you published the survey, it said it had created a folder with this name, which is written survey and health living conditions survey tutorial. So now we go over to this the left section of our organization. We have a list of folders here. So we're just going to look for the folder. We start with survey, and then we find out that we have this one, survey living conditions health tutorial. So I'm just going to click on this folder. We are expecting to see all, yeah, exactly. So we have our survey now. This is going to be the form which we can also get to share with the people who are going to be doing this survey. If it's going to be a public survey, we can share it with the public. If it's going to be an organizational survey, we can share it internally within our organization. And also, we have a web map. This is basically going to contain everything which the user is going to be placing their locations, and locations will also be shared with people who are going to be analyzing this data. And also we have this living conditions survey tutorial feature layer. So the feature layer actually contains data now. So let me just open the feature layer so that you see some of the components. Okay, so like I said before, we are seeing this thumbnail which we added. It's already there, and then we have a layer, and then we have a table. So if we open this layer and then we go to data, just find out that all the fields that we're adding are inside here. And then this is a log feed which contains a relation to the table. So as you can see here, you don't living conditions survey tutorial, then underscore children. So this basically references this children table which we have here, which is basically going to contain the names of the children. So if I go to data, unfortunately we don't have the data right now, but as you can see in the column, we have a column which contains the name of the child and the parent global ID, and then here is the relation of the child to the location of the survey. So we might have all this data is related. So whenever we're creating maps and analyzing, we have to take into account all these relations, and then we get to figure out what we are actually dealing with. Okay, so with that being said, I think this is the end of the tutorial, and I'm just going to leave you guys to explore more features that you need within this ArcGIS Survey123. So basically we need three things. We need the ArcGIS Survey123 Connect desktop application, and then we need to have Microsoft Excel enabled on our device, and then finally, if we have a portal or if we have an organization account, we need to have a web browser where you can get to access your organization from your computer, and then so that you see so that you get to see if everything is working well before you actually get to share everything with your users. And then yeah, you can get to analyze the data and do whatever you want with the data. So this is just an introductory course to Survey123 Connect. I hope you guys have learned how to create your surveys and you mastered the concept, whenever you need to revisit, I also have a tool which is actually an ODK tool. Let me just go over to development tools. It was created by ODK. I'm sure you're familiar with ODK. Let me just go over here. It's xlsform.org documentation. So this is basically a documentation of how you can get to configure XLS forms. This is basically from the ODK series, like the people who created the ODK, but it's also related to the Survey123 Connect app. So you can, whenever you get lost, you can also get to figure out some of the things that you need in creating some of your surveys. And it's quite a huge documentation which you might also consider saving on your device. So for you to save that, you might want to just hit Control P for you to be able to print this survey, and then you get to store it, like, let's say, like on your mobile device or on your tablet, and then you can always use this as a point of reference whenever you're creating surveys. Anyway, so that's it for this tutorial. I hope you guys learned everything you need to know about Survey123. I don't know how many times I've done these closing remarks, but anyway, that's probably the last time, and we're gonna be seeing each other in other future tutorials to come. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you like this video. Share it with your colleagues, and also get to comment down in the comment section below so that I know how we can help each other, and you can also help me in creating surveys which are very useful and meaningful in terms of data collection. So please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. See you guys in future tutorials.